The product steward role can have some of the highest impact on a team, whether for good or ill. Do they make the roadmaps? Do other team members' input need to be considered? What if they're not a product manager? What if they're mostly a visionary type person? Welcome to Agile Team Foundations with Barry Hawkins. Please be sure to like and subscribe. This video series is based on training that I've delivered over the years, both as a game and product development leader building teams internally and as a consultant helping other companies and studios establish or evolve their approach to development process as well. In this episode, we'll be taking a deeper look at the product steward role, what it's meant to do, what its core charter is, and a bit more context on the characteristics and nature of what makes for a great product steward. If you're new to my work, you may be wondering, what is a product steward? And the product steward is one of three roles that people play on cross-functional Agile development teams. The product steward has the partner of the team steward, which we cover in a separate video, and the two of them work in partnership primarily to exercise and work the development process, the flow of outcomes into the team, their curation, and then their development and delivery. And the product steward, while the team steward mostly focuses on team and health effectiveness, the product steward sits alongside them to steward the vision and roadmap and backlog for what it is that the team is working on, whether that's an entire product or part of a product or a game. The first primary responsibility of the product steward is to steward or shepherd the vision for the product and its backlog and roadmap, whether that's a product that is small enough and focused enough to be owned by this single team, or if this team is one of a collection of teams working on a larger product and they own a clear part of that larger product's ecosystem. And the product steward is meant to essentially tell the story of where are we taking this part of the product? How are we ensuring that we're thinking strategically about what's coming into our backlog and making it onto our roadmap? And how do we ensure that our strategy for this part of the product aligns both with the overall strategy for the product, and that all in turn is in line with the organization's overall strategy and direction. Hand in hand with stewarding the vision for the product is ensuring that the product steward is engaging the team to determine the approach we're taking, the level of effort that would be involved in that, and the timelines and commitments that we agree to together and that we communicate outward. One thing that I say very often is no member of a team should ever be surprised by a roadmap or a slide deck that their product steward presents to the overall company or an external stakeholder or publisher, because this should be developed together. This is one of the key differences with an agility-based approach to product development, is that product stewards are not command and control dictators who are going off and dreaming something up with no input from the people who have to do the work. Rather, they are bringing the people who are doing the work together to talk about the vision and the arc of where we're going, and then invite the team into conversation to then say, now, how could we do that? How could we do this one thing? Because, of course, this one thing that we're doing is one of myriad things that we're having to do to this part of the product as we evolve it, based on stakeholder input, what we're learning from the market, what our own research is telling us. Many things go into how the vision and the arc of the product is being shaped. But when it comes to how we approach addressing those inputs, it should be the whole team together, with every cross-functional discipline having a seat at the table. Driving stakeholder alignment. One of the superpowers of an effective product steward is that they are wonderful at driving stakeholder alignment. Now, by stakeholder, I mean not just anyone with an opinion about what it is you work on, but rather people who have a say in both the content and the priority order of what is in that team's backlog and roadmap. And when it comes to these stakeholders and managing their expectations, the effective product steward is very proactive and forward thinking and thorough in ensuring that the stakeholders are kept up to date on how the backlog and the roadmap is shifting, because it is always shifting. There are many, many variables that go into impacting the priority and execution order of what a team works on. And a good product steward ensures that as significant new changes happen to that priority order, they're proactively reaching out to the stakeholders and saying, hey, so there have been some shifts in priority, and on the whole, this is what things look like. Some things that you really care about are still where they were. Some things that you really care about aren't, but so is the case for all of the other stakeholders. But overall, this is where things are going. And keeping that proactive communication going and established ensures that we're managing the individual expectations of stakeholders so that overall the collective expectations of the stakeholders actually match and reflect what we're actually having to do, what we're actually having to deal with. I'm frequently asked, what characteristics make for a successful product steward? What things, what attributes would set someone up for success as they take on this role? There are a few things, there are many things, but a few rise to the top. One is the effective product steward is someone who is either an expert at or is willing to learn and grow in their ability to inspire and include the team members in developing the backlog and the roadmap. Far too often in product stewardship roles and product management roles, you'll have people who rely on more of a command and control, a dictation of approach when they interact with people on the team. And the unfortunate thing about that is when you're merely exerting your will or attempting to exert your will on the team with no dialogue, that shuts off the ability for conversation about possibilities. So the team is largely just having to react to and defend against your demands as opposed to being asked a question of, this is an outcome that would make a huge impact for the product. How might we do that? And then, because when that happens, then they are invited to say, well, we could approach it this way, and this way. And then it becomes a dialogue around trade-offs with how much effort we invest into that outcome and how much impact we think it's going to have. Because again, this one individual thing is one among many. One challenge that I have seen in effective product stewardship is that some organizations have latched on to a concept that originates in product management circles, talking about product managers being mini CEOs. And the unfortunate thing is the good intent with the mini CEO metaphor is it's intended to say that each product manager who's working with a team or heading up a team should think strategically, think independently, take accountability for their backlog and their roadmap. Unfortunately, the way that the mini CEO paradigm has been interpreted by a number of people is this mini CEO is embodying most of the horrible dysfunctions in so many of the CEOs in the corporate world that we all see and often read about on the headlines. And that's absolutely not the intent. So I've generally favored just avoiding the mini CEO metaphor altogether, and focused on product stewardship is being someone who invites the team into dialogue, includes everyone in the conversation, factors that input into what we end up pursuing. Another way that I talk about this is a good product steward is a storyteller whose primary source material is the other people on the team's input. They take that input, they cast a vision and inspire people. Then they invite that input and dialogue. That happens, and they take that and weave that vision into something we can pursue and deliver. Another characteristic for success with product stewardship is be someone who is proactive, not reactive. You can have the best vision in the world. You can be the most diligent person in your pursuit of customer feedback, research, all of that. But if you're not proactively ensuring that you're reaching out, communicating with all of your stakeholders about updates and significant changes, if you're not ensuring that the team is aware of what research or what new input is informing some of the changes that you're talking to them about, then what you'll find is you're conveying a great possibility, but what it takes to get people to come along is way more than if ahead of time you had let them know these things were coming. And especially around proactivity is when your backlog and roadmap undergoes significant change because of whatever forces may have impacted that, ensure that your stakeholders and your dependent teams and your partners outside of product development, like marketing, customer support, all of the other people who have to know what you're doing, ensure that they know as soon as possible when big shifts happen, because shifts within your backlog and roadmap, especially on product teams, have a massive ripple effect for everyone else. So ensuring that you're being timely and you're on top of keeping the communication flow going it's only going to help you all the way along. Another common question that I receive about product stewardship is, does someone have to be a product manager to be a product steward? And the answer is no. In fact, there are some development teams where putting a product manager in the product steward role can actually be counterproductive and not that fulfilling for someone with a product management background. For teams that have a high amount of dependency, that have many, especially like customer facing or player impacting features or parts of the product that they own, for those groups, having a product manager who can apply the discipline and rigor of what it takes to work a product development lifecycle, that is looking at inputs, many different inputs, and then synthesizing those into what you bring into your backlog and roadmap. Product management can be very impactful there. In other groups, and example teams that I use very often are highly engineering centric teams where it's internal tooling or things that are very focused just on this product or this larger project that a group of teams is working on, or for art teams in video game development where what they're working on, there's not really any discovery or opportunity articulation or assessment when it comes to what this team is doing. It's primarily knowing how to act on the decisions and vision that were that have been committed to, and then ensuring that the delivery of the art happens at a rate of throughput, at a level of quality, and with an adhesion to the style and feel of the experience we're creating. And all of that's really not that well served by official product management. Now, that said, there are many things that could benefit the creative or discipline leaders that typically fill product steward roles in these teams that I'm describing. So what I encourage creative leads or engineering leads who serve a product steward role is spend some time understanding the mechanics and the how of product management, because even if what you're working on is very straightforward, having a little bit of knowledge around opportunity identification, assessment, prioritization, and driving stakeholder alignment and what makes for a good backlog and a good roadmap can really be great tools to help you, one, working with the team, but two, in your own professional development of working across a broader and broader creative canvas. Vision without discipline sucks, especially in a product steward role. Sometimes I will encounter teams that have a creative or engineering leader who's in a product steward role, and they have some amount of vision that they will convey and sometimes opine about at length, but the discipline of how does that vision actually translate into what the team could work on, and has there been enough dialogue with the team to figure out the ways that could possibly be approached? When it's all vision with no discipline and, rubber meets the road and, hey, let's actually start doing some of this stuff, what I typically see is, one, the team steward is usually flexing heavily into the product steward responsibilities to cover for this visionary's lack of discipline and follow through. And it tends to have a very disheartening impact on the team because they hear about these inspiring things, or sometimes hear about things that mostly sound like a fever dream that the person had last night. And it's kind of exhausting to have to hear or witness yet another one of those when meanwhile there's a mountain of work that needs to get done, and whether or not we're hitting the creative bar or what the overall project is going for is really hard to figure out because this visionary hasn't spent the time communicating back to the team what they've been hearing in the leadership meetings that they're in, or sometimes even that leader hasn't been spending enough time paying attention in those meetings to even be able to pass that back to the team. So it's awesome to have vision, but it needs to come with practical application and discipline, or else it's going to suck having you on the team. And I say that in a spirit of love. So don't do it. You may be asking yourself, or me, no, ask me. First one of the day. All right, let's do this. Cross-functional development teams. Should have looked down, should have finished talking, then looked down to push the button. Here we go. The first primary responsibility of the team, However, the way that mini CEO has unfortunately been interpreted. Those are uploaded. God, I forget that every time. Check out the links in the description below to figure out? Yeah, go on a journey of self-discovery and, what am I doing? So that you'll be first to know when new Agile team foundations and other product development videos have uploaded. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notifications icon so that you'll be first to know when new Agile team foundations and other game and product development videos are uploaded. If you're looking for support in your development journey, check out the links in the description below to find out how you can work with me. For the next video in the Agile Team Foundations series, check out the video up here. For the entire Agile Team Foundations playlist, you can check that out down here. Again, I'm Barry Hawkins. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.